What do you do when the very center of your world collapses? When the person who was your sun, your moon, and all your stars is suddenly extinguished, leaving you in a cold and terrifying darkness? For 22-year-old Cheryl Strayed, this wasn't a philosophical question, it was a brutal reality. When her mother Bobby died suddenly and cruelly from cancer at the age of just 45, the foundation of Cheryl's life didn't just crack, it disintegrated. She was left utterly and completely lost in a wild, untamed wilderness of grief. So what did she do? She decided to get even more lost. She decided to walk into a different kind of wilderness, a physical one, hoping it would teach her how to survive the one that was raging inside her heart. With no hiking experience, driven by a desperate impulsive need to do something, anything to save herself, she decided to hike more than 1,000 miles of the Pacific Crest Trail, alone. Her memoir, Wild, is the story of that journey, but it is so much more than a hiking story. It is one of the most powerful and honest explorations of grief and healing ever written. It's a story about the radical idea that sometimes the only way to heal a broken mind is to push the body to its absolute limit. It's a philosophical journey about the messy, painful and beautiful process of shedding a life that is no longer yours and forging a new one agonizing, courageous and transformative step at a time. To understand why Cheryl Strayed would undertake such a punishing journey, you have to understand the depth of the hole her mother's death left in her life. Her mother Bobby was not just a parent, she was the vibrant, joyful and magical center of Cheryl's universe. Their bond was incredibly close, forged through a childhood of poverty and instability after her father left. Bobby was a woman of immense strength and optimism who, despite having nothing, could create a world of wonder for her children. When she was taken by cancer just a few short months after her diagnosis, it was as if the sun had gone out. The grief that followed was not a quiet sadness. It was a destructive force. Adrift and untethered, Cheryl's life began to unravel. Her once happy marriage to a good man crumbled under the weight of her sorrow and her subsequent infidelity. She started experimenting with heroin. She was making a series of reckless, self-destructive choices, not because she wanted to die but because she didn't know how to live in a world without her mother. She was, in her own words, lost in the most fundamental way. It was in this state of desperation, standing in line at an outdoor store, that she saw a guidebook for the Pacific Crest Trail, the PCT. The trail is a brutal, high-elevation wilderness path that runs from the border of Mexico to the border of Canada, up the spine of the American West. She had never backpacked a day in her life. She knew nothing about gear, or navigation, or survival. But in that moment, the idea of the trail became a lifeline. The decision to hike the PCT wasn't a well-thought-out plan for healing. It was a desperate, impulsive act of a person with absolutely nothing left to lose. It was a Hail Mary pass for her own soul. The journey begins in the Mojave Desert, and the trail immediately establishes itself as a brutal and unforgiving teacher. Cheryl is comically, almost tragically unprepared. Her first challenge is simply lifting her own backpack. It is so absurdly overloaded with unnecessary gear, a tiny saw, a whole library of books, a pair of binoculars, that she can barely get it off the ground. She names it Monster, and it becomes the perfect physical metaphor for the monstrous, unbearable weight of the grief she is carrying on her back. The first few weeks are a catalog of pain and misery. Her boots, a size too small, shred her feet, eventually causing her to lose 6 toenails. She struggles with her tiny, complicated stove, often eating her food cold and crunchy. She runs out of water. She gets lost. She is freezing cold at night and scorching hot during the day. The physical agony is relentless. But a strange thing begins to happen. The sheer, overwhelming reality of her physical suffering begins to eclipse her emotional pain. When your entire world is reduced to finding your next water source, treating your blisters, and forcing your exhausted body to take one more step, there is little room left for the circular, abstract torment of grief. The wilderness doesn't care about your sadness. It demands your full, undivided, present-moment attention. This is the first great lesson of the book, a profound piece of wisdom about the connection between the body and the mind. Cheryl couldn't think her way out of her grief. Her mind was a trap, a broken record of sad memories and self-recrimination. So she turned to her body. She embarked on a journey that was so physically demanding that it forced her out of her head. The trail becomes a form of radical walking meditation. The pain is not an obstacle, it is the path. It is the brutal teacher that forces her, for the first time in years, to simply be present in her own life, one agonizing step at a time. As she walks, the solitude of the trail works its strange magic. With no one to talk to and nothing to distract her, the physical journey forces an equally intense internal one. The trail becomes a 1,000-mile-long therapy session, a walking meditation where all the ghosts of her past rise up to meet her. The most powerful ghost, of course, is her mother. As she walks through the stunning, empty landscapes, her mind is flooded with memories of Bobby. She remembers her mother's infectious laugh, her fierce love, her incredible resilience in the face of poverty and abuse from Cheryl's father. She remembers her mother going back to college at the same time as her, a moment of beautiful shared growth that was cut short. These memories are both a comfort and a source of incredible pain. The trail gives her the time and the space to finally sift through them, to feel the full weight of her loss without the distractions of her crumbling life back home. But other ghosts walk with her too. She is forced to confront her own mistakes, her own failings. She thinks about her marriage to her ex-husband, Paul, a kind man whom she loved but betrayed in the chaos of her grief. The physical act of moving forward, of putting one foot in front of the other day after day, becomes a mirror for the emotional work she is doing. She is walking her way through her own history, confronting the parts of herself she is ashamed of. This is not a story of easy epiphanies. There is no single moment where everything becomes clear. Instead, it's a slow, messy, and non-linear process of reckoning. Some days are filled with a sense of peace and clarity, other days are filled with rage, sadness, and overwhelming loneliness. But with every mile she walks, she is doing the hard work of untangling her past. She is learning to look at her life with honesty, to forgive herself for her mistakes, and to understand the complex forces that made her the person she is. One of the great paradoxes of Wild is that it is a story about a solo journey that is filled with other people. Cheryl sets out to be completely alone, to be radically self-reliant. But she quickly learns that such a thing is not entirely possible, or even desirable. The trail is a community, and she is repeatedly saved, supported, and transformed by the kindness of strangers. She meets other hikers, a tribe of misfits and searchers who, like her, have come to the wilderness to find something they have lost. They share food, they share stories, they share advice, they look out for each other. This is the fellowship of the trail, an unspoken bond between people who understand the unique challenges of the journey. And then there are the trail angels, people who live near the PCT and who make it their mission to help hikers. They leave caches of water, trail magic, in the driest parts of the desert. They open their homes to tired, dirty hikers, offering a hot meal, a shower, and a soft bed for the night. These encounters are small miracles. They are moments of unexpected grace that restore Cheryl's faith in humanity. One of the most memorable characters is a farmer who picks her up while she's hitchhiking into a town. He takes her back to his home, where his wife cooks her a huge meal, lets her do her laundry, and treats her with a simple, unquestioning kindness that brings her to tears. These people don't ask for anything in return. Their generosity is a powerful reminder that even when we feel completely alone in our suffering, we are still part of a larger human family, and that connection and kindness can be found in the most unexpected of places. Her journey to become self-reliant ironically teaches her the profound importance of our reliance on each other. As Cheryl hikes through the snows of the High Sierra and the forests of Oregon, a slow and profound transformation takes place. She becomes physically strong, her body lean and hard from the thousands of miles she has walked. She becomes a competent and skilled backpacker, no longer the clueless amateur who started in the desert. But the biggest transformation is internal. There is a moment late in the book where she is thinking about her grief, about the huge, heavy weight of her mother's death, and she has a breakthrough. She realizes that she will never get over it. The grief is not a mountain to be conquered and left behind. It's not an obstacle to be overcome. It is a weight that she will have to carry for the rest of her life. This realization is not a moment of despair. It is a moment of profound, liberating acceptance. The goal of her journey, she finally understands, was not to get rid of the weight of her grief. It was to build the strength to carry it. The trail has done exactly that. It has made her strong enough, physically, mentally, and emotionally, to carry her own story, to carry her own loss, without it crushing her. She is not cured. The sadness is still there, but it no longer defines her. It is a part of her, just as her mother's love is a part of her. The hike did not give her back the life she had lost. Instead, it gave her the tools to build a new one. The end of her journey at the Bridge of the Gods between Oregon and Washington is not a triumphant finish line. It's a quiet, humble, and deeply satisfying arrival. The woman who finishes the trail is not the same self-destructive lost girl who started it. She is scarred, yes, but she is also a woman who knows her own strength, who has faced her own demons, and who has walked her way back to herself. Wild is a powerful and life-affirming anthem for anyone who has ever been lost. It is a reminder that healing is not about finding your old self. It's about having the courage to forge a new one. It is a story about the difficult, beautiful, and transformative journeys of the human spirit. If you believe that our deepest healing is found not by avoiding our pain but by walking directly through it, then you are in the right place. Welcome to Geeky Philosopher. Subscribe and join us for more journeys into the heart of what it means to be human.